In this lesson, we'll go over how to create a sampling event work scope. On the left side of your project menu, click on the Events tab. This will reveal any already scheduled events for your project. To view any previously scheduled events, simply click the drop-down menu at the top of the column and check the completed box. To add a new sampling event, click the Add Event icon at the bottom of the list to create a new sampling work scope. This will bring up a window for you to create a new sampling event. First, you will select the media type for this sampling event. Please note, each type of media to be sampled will have to be set up as its own separate sampling event. Multimedia sampling events cannot be created. Each media must be created as a separate event, but can be created to occur on the same day if needed. Next, you can give your sampling event a name. For instance, you can call it First Quarter 2024 or Fall 2024. The title of the event will be populated on the mobile application along with the project name and date for easy recognition. Next, you will select a target date for your sampling event. You can type in the date desired or simply click the calendar icon and select your date from the pop-up calendar. Then click the Create button and your sampling event will be created. If you want to change the event, simply click on the Schedule tab at the top of the page, and the event name and target sampling date can be modified if desired. If you would like to assign this particular sampling event to one or more designated technicians, under Assigned Users, click the Add icon and then select the users you would like assigned to this particular sampling event. The list of users is pre-populated from the list of individuals who have been previously invited to this project or workspace. To edit the sampling details of your sampling event, click on the Work Scope tab at the top of the page. A list of all your entered sample locations will appear. This page is where we will select which locations to sample, but first we need to select what we will be sampling for. Click on the Manage Test icon at the top right of the screen. This will open a pre-populated list of all the analytical tests that the selected lab offers. You can scroll through the list for the desired analytical test you wish to perform on this project or search for the desired parameter at the top of the window. In this example, we're going to select B-Tex and chlorides. After you have made your selection, hit Save at the bottom of that window. Each selected test will now appear as a new column in the sample location box. To select the test to be performed at a particular sampling location, simply check the appropriate box under the analytical parameter. If you want to select all or unselect all, simply check or uncheck the small box at the top of the column. If you only want to collect a groundwater elevation at a particular location, click the box to the right of the sample ID until it says Gauge Only. This will then be indicated to the field sampler. Please note that when you indicate that a well is to be sampled for any parameter, it is assumed that a groundwater elevation is automatically collected. The column labeled Sampling Method is where you will select the sampling method to be used. Select the option you want at the top of the column, and all locations will automatically revert to that option. You can also change sampling methods on individual sample locations as well. Sometimes you may want to collect a sample and ship it to the lab, but not have the lab run the sample right away. If this is the case, check the Hold box next to the sample location, and this will indicate to the lab to hold the sample for further instruction. Any notes to the lab related to the hold or any other items can also be noted in the Note to Lab column on the far right. This information will then be populated to the chain of custody. At the bottom of the screen, under QA/QC Preferences and Instructions, is where you will select your QA/QC preferences. If you want to add duplicates for your field event, you will check the Blind Duplicate box. This reveals an Add Location button. Click the Add Location button and a drop-down selection box will appear with a list of all the sample locations you've selected to be tested. Select the sample location you want to have run as a duplicate, and then select the parameters you want tested on the duplicate. Note the platform will not let you run a duplicate parameter that you did not select for the original sample. If you want to add another duplicate, click the Add Location button again and repeat the process. Please note the lab will not know which sample the duplicate belongs to as it is listed as duplicate number 1, etc. On the chain of custody with the collection time omitted is a blind duplicate to the laboratory. The MS/MSD samples operate similarly as the duplicates with the exception that the samples are listed accordingly on the chain of custody. You can also select if you want field blanks, equipment blanks, and trip blanks as well. You select your preferences, the number of each type you want, and the parameters you want tested. Please note that if you want to do a round of groundwater elevations on all your monitoring wells first, before starting sampling, it's best to create 2 separate events on the same day. One event for just the groundwater elevations and a separate event for the sampling. If you were not doing a full round of elevations first, then they can be combined into one event. After you have your sampling preferences selected, hit the Save button at the bottom of the page to save the sampling event work scope. Every time you edit the work scope, be sure to hit the Save button before leaving the page. That is how you create a sampling event work scope.